Hi, I'm Brian Cummins and you're watching Live Prog.
You know, it doesn't happen often to me that the album I have in a review is from a band that I actually heard of about 20 years ago. And yet, in this case, it is. Citizen Cain, Skies Darken.
20 men take their rest, tucked up for the night in bed. Ice on the windows, frost in the air, cold that
I hope you can see it, because it's all pretty dark, and as you can see the writing is a bit strange. And here we have the track listing. I heard of this band many years before, when I just had discovered progressive rock through this CD, an SI music compilation disc, which contained one track from the first album of Citizen Cain, Serpents in Camouflage, from 1993. And to be honest, I didn't really like that track. I never played it, so consequently, I never followed Citizen Cain. Now, they made a lot of albums over the years, the last one being in 2002, but then it became quiet. Now, the revival or resurrection of a band in prog is nothing new. It happens all the time. They're like zombies, you know, they never die. And so we have a new Citizen Cain album. And I gotta be honest, I was a bit worried, especially thinking back to that 20-year-old first acquaintance with this band. So, well, I made a brave move and I put the CD on. And wow, I was actually blown away. Not at first. I tell you that, not at first. I gotta say, this album, Skies Darken, is a real grower. It took me a while before I really started to get into it. A couple of spins, but already with the first spin I heard, this was different. Now, one thing that I noticed, but didn't realize back then much, because back then I was still, you know, discovering progressive rock, was that Cyrus, the vocalist, is uncanny like Peter Gabriel. Really uncanny. So the first thing you have is like, oh no, this is a Genesis clone. Well, far from it. I gotta say, because of the vocals, the whole Genesis idea keeps echoing in the back of my mind. But the music is completely different. And if I look at Skies Darken, and I was intrigued a little bit by the way they wrote it, because they kind of use old Greek letters to write it down. So unfortunately, I hope you can see it, they have it here in, you know, Western European letters, so we can read it. Now, Skies Darken, I gotta say, it's a tough one to listen to. It's 73 minutes, so there's a lot of music in it. And let me open up the booklet, I'll show you a little bit more. Now, I hope you can see it, but I had a bit of difficulty reading it, so I gotta tell you, I didn't really got into the whole story and the whole lyrics. From what I understood, the gist of it is these are all the chimeras of Cyrus, the vocalist, and I would call Skies Darken the soundtrack to the mind of Cyrus. Wow, that sounds like a movie.
Yet unbeknown to him a God stirs, the morsel that he seeks now reversed. Who's that knocking on my door? I smell blood and much more.
I gotta say, I think the whole soundtrack idea kind of sounds, because it's I really dare say it, it's epic, it's grand, it's very dark, it's not very light, happy, you know, music. When you listen to this music, you don't picture yourself with meadows, with flowers and everything. No, you picture more desolate lands and dark grey skies, maybe rain. That kind of a emotion does it bring to you. But it is very beautiful. It's really very beautiful. I mean, these guys, the three of them, they're Scottish. I think they came back to take revenge. They rose from the dead to take revenge and to show the world, you know, this is what we can do. We can bring fucking good music and blow everyone away with this album, because that's simply what they did. It's an epic journey when you listen to the music, and I gotta say, despite the constant link with Peter Gabriel, vocal-wise, I really enjoyed the vocals here. There's a lot of emotion in it, and well, the whole emotion drips off it, and you really, when you listen to it, you really see yourself in that desolate country, and you see yourself walking around there, and it's really fantastic. Two tracks that really impressed me were track number 5, The Hunting of Johnny I, and track number 6, Going Down. The pretty long tracks. There are a couple of really long ones, epic ones on it. I mean, well, can you imagine? It's 8 tracks and it's 73 minutes. So they're all long tracks on it, but they are done so well. I mean, everything fits so perfectly. The music is great. The bass play, especially in track number 6, there's a lot of great bass in it, a lot of keyboards in it that really fantastic. Okay, before I move on, let's do a roll call here, because who are these guys? I mean, I'm talking about Cyrus. Well, Cyrus is the vocalist, you got it, but he's also the bass player. We have Stuart Bell, keyboards and drums, and we have Phil Allen, guitars. I hope you can see it, because as I said, the artwork is very dark, and well, I think that's my only point of criticism, that the letters, it's very hard to read. Obviously, these guys are playing with each other for such a long time. They are really in tune with each other, and that is what you hear. If you take all the instruments, the guitars, the bass, the drums, the keys, the vocals, and you put them as puzzle pieces, then with Skies Darken, all these pieces fit perfectly. Really well, really impressive what they can do together. They create a fantastic atmosphere, and this is an album I don't need to talk a lot about, because this is an album you just gotta have. This is really, and I never thought I would say this, but Citizen Cain Skies Darken is really a must-have album, because this is, in my opinion, how a prog album should be. And they were part of the SI music label, so they were labeled neo-prog, but this is not neo-prog. Well, it's neo-prog, it's new prog, but it is not, how do you say it? I mean, nowadays neo-prog has a bit of a bad sound to it, but what these guys do is really impressive, and they make a fantastic album that has so many layers, that has so many detail in it, that you can listen to it many times and still hear new things, new elements in the music. So this is, in my opinion, how a band should make an album. You know, maybe they put in a little much. I mean, it's 73 minutes, and I gotta say, I was pretty exhausted when the album was done, but it was worth it. It was very much worth it. When it was done, I really wanted to go back and listen to it again. And I think if I put this one on my shelf in my cabinet right there and pick it out in a year from now, I'm still gonna love it as much as I love it right now. This is a timeless album, and even if I don't put it in the shelf but play it every week, I think in a year time I will still love it. It's that good. And I don't say that to every album. I know I'm always very positive about music, but in the end I find that even albums that I really enjoy, after a while they lose their touch, and then they go in there and don't come out. But I think this one will definitely come out, because it is really good. It has a magical touch to it. So if you want to experience that too, then, well, it's very easy. Go to your record store or online retailer and buy a copy of this album. And please buy it, because that way you can ensure that there might be next album. And I really hope so, because if I see what they can do, I want to see what they can do next. Citizen Cain, Sky's Dark.